Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to discuss about the dynamic verbs and stative verbs. We will learn how to use them and how not to use them. We'll also be looking at some verbs that work both as action verbs and stative verbs. So are you ready? Let's get started. When we're talking about verbs in English, there are many ways to classify them, and you probably know some of these already. There are verbs as being regular and irregular, transitive or intransitive, and stative or dynamic. Today, what we'll be looking at is the fact that verbs are also divided according to whether they are dynamic or stative. So what does it mean? Most verbs in English are what we call dynamic verbs, also referred to as action verbs. Action verbs describe actions we do, things we do, or things that happen. Whereas stative verbs refer to states or conditions. They refer to the things they are, their appearance, state of being, senses, etc. So let's look at the difference. Dynamic verbs refer to actions. For example, run, work, learn, play, eat, and drink. So these are actions. What's important with these dynamic verbs is that we can use them in all the tenses. That means we can use them in simple tenses. For example, in present simple we can say she walks or they play. In past simple we can say she walked, they played. Or in future simple, she will walk or they will play. We can also use them in continuous tenses. For example, in present continuous we can say she is walking or they are playing. In past continuous we can say she was walking, they were playing. And in future continuous, she will be walking, they will be playing. Or we can use them in perfect tenses. For example, she has walked, they have played. She had walked, they had played. Or she's been walking, they've been playing. So these dynamic verbs you can use in all the wonderful tenses in English that you know. Simple tenses, continuous tenses, or perfect tenses. On the other hand, since stative verbs refer to states or conditions, we cannot use them with all the tenses. We can only use these verbs in anything but the continuous tenses. So we can use them with a simple tense or perfect tense, but not in continuous form. For example, the verb know. You can say I know, but you can say I am knowing. You shouldn't be saying that, or you cannot say that in correct English. Same with the verb need. I need, not I am needing. Or understand. I understand, not I am understanding. So no continuous form. So this is where the majority of mistakes are made, because in many languages, there are different verb tenses. There's only one present tense or one past tense. And that's what causes difficulties sometimes in English between these simple tenses and continuous tenses. And especially in this section, because these stative verbs are never allowed to be used in continuous form. Let's focus more on stative verbs. There are many more action verbs than stative verbs. Generally, stative verbs fall into 5 categories. Number 1, verbs showing thoughts or opinions. So these verbs are know, you can say I know her, believe, understand, recognize, realize, prefer, agree or disagree, approve or disapprove, suppose, suspect. So these verbs are all stative verbs and you cannot use them in continuous tenses. Number 2, verbs showing possession. Something that belongs to someone or something. For example, the verb have, like I have a pet. Or the verb own, I own a car. Belong, possess, and own. Number 3, verbs showing senses. These verbs are hear, smell, see, feel, appear, and sing. For example, I hear someone talking, or I feel happy today. Your food smells good. I see what you mean. Number 4, Verbs showing emotions, like love. For example, I love dogs. We can also use like or dislike. I like tea. And other verbs like hate, want, need, desire, and wish. And number 5, verbs showing states or qualities. For example, the verb weigh. You can say, the piece of meat weighs 2 pounds. You cannot say, the piece of meat is weighing 2 pounds. Same with the verb contain. You can say, the box contains chemicals. You cannot say, the box was containing chemicals. Other verbs are cause, exist, depend, deserve, involve, and matter. So these are the 5 categories, and these stative verbs are not normally used in continuous forms. As you may notice, some of these verbs can also be used as action verbs with different meanings or temporary actions. These verbs can be both dynamic or stative verbs. Here are some examples. The verb be. When used in stative verb, we say, he is immature. This means that he is always immature. If you say he is being immature, this means that he's temporarily acting immature. So here we use it as an action verb. Second, the verb have. In stative, it means possession. Like I have a dog. I have a pet. When you're using it as an action verb, we say, I'm having breakfast, which means I am eating breakfast now. So the meaning here is different, and it's a temporary action. Another example, he's having fun. This means he's experiencing fun. Next, the verb see. Here in stative, see means understanding or perception with your eyes. For example, I see what you mean. This means that you understand what a person is trying to say. Now, see in action verb means meet or have a relationship with. For example, I'll be seeing the doctor tomorrow. This only means that you will meet the doctor tomorrow. Or they are seeing each other, which means they are dating or they are having a relationship with each other. Another verb is look. In stative verb, it means appearance. For example, that cake looks delicious. In action verb, we use it when we're directing our eyes at something or someone. We usually use the phrasal verbs. For example, he's looking at the computer screen. She's looking for a job, or they're looking after my pets. The verbs smell and taste are also considered dynamic or stative. In stative, the verbs smell and taste refers to the quality of smell or taste possessed by something. For example, the bar smells of smoke. You cannot say the bar is smelling of smoke. Or you can say the meat tastes like chicken, not the meat is tasting like chicken. Now, when a person uses his nose or mouth to test something, then we can use them as action verbs. For example, he's smelling the cookies, or she's tasting the soup to see if it needs more salt. Other verbs, think and feel. When using these verbs to express opinions, then we use them as stative. For example, I think that's a great idea. I feel that this is not the best time to talk. However, when think or feel expresses the process of considering something, or when you're using your mind, experiencing emotions or health issues, in this case, it is an action verb. For example, we're thinking of moving to another city, or I've been feeling so tired lately. And finally, the verbs weigh and measure. When we use these verbs to talk about the quality possessed by something, then it is stative. For example, the luggage weighs 25 pounds. We don't say the luggage is weighing 25 pounds. Another example, the board measures 2 meters by 55 centimeters. Not the board is measuring 2 meters by 55 centimeters. Now we can use these verbs as action verbs, performs an action of measuring or weighing something. For example, the butcher is weighing the meat on the scale. She is measuring 2 cups of water. So these are the verbs that you may use as dynamic or stative. Just always remember that we don't use the continuous forms in any of these stative verbs unless we use them as action verbs. If you're unsure whether the verb is dynamic or stative, ask yourself this question. Does this verb relate to some sort of process or a state? If it relates to a process or an action verb, then the verb is dynamic or action verb. If it refers to a state or condition or anything that falls into the 5 categories, then it is a stative verb. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you understand the difference between the stative verb and dynamic verb, how to use them and how not to use them. Please be familiar with the verbs that you can use as both stative and dynamic. And always remember that stative verbs don't use a continuous form. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button and share. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell to get updated on my latest lessons. See you next time!